Hey, what's going on there, folks? It is the Earthmaster back here on this Tuesday night. I've got Wednesday coming up tomorrow, October 10th, 2023, about 11 o'clock California time here. Latest activity shows a 3.3 around the area of Turkey, it looks like. Latest activity there on the globe. We did see some larger scale movement with a 6-pointer, 6.3 in western Afghanistan earlier as well. A little odd region. Since then, a handful of smaller earthquakes, smaller compared to the 6.3 down here across the Fiji and the Tonga area. Things lighten up here pretty nicely. This area has been awfully quiet here. In the past few days since we've had all this warming up north here, looks like things are starting to adjust and fill back in. Watch the New Zealand area, kind of sits in between these two areas of heightened earthquake activity. Let me double check this map here and see what we got. Here's some of the activity stirring up here across the Tonga Trench. Also down here across the Balleny Islands, a 5.5 coming in. That does kind of put New Zealand right there in the middle of all the plate movement, so just a heads up. Some activity stirring up there across the big island of Hawaii as well. The latest at 2.1. I was just reading the informational statement here from the USGS. The volcano is currently not erupting, but the volcano itself is showing some episodic heightened unrest in earthquake swarm fashion and tilt. The area that's seeing this is south of the December 1974 events. And an eruption, check out this wording, an eruption in the region of that 1974 events could emerge with little notice, 1 to 2 hours during peaks in this activity. So, looks like these guys are thinking maybe we're going to see a reactivation of those 1974 events where the earthquake swarming is occurring within this area right here. A little bit, these are still fairly deep though, about 3 to 4 kilometers, with some of them moving up towards the surface. Not a whole lot of migration towards the crater area, so we could see things ramp back up here to the south, it looks like. So yeah, these guys are definitely saying that it could emerge with little notice, 1 to 2 hours time frame. So we'll just keep an eye on that. What else we got here for some activity? California region, handful of earthquakes, couple just off the plate boundary here. Not a whole lot of movement though today across the California area. Slight uptick here across the Bay region. Couple 2s coming in there outside of Berkeley. And even a 1.6 outside the San Francisco Zoo, off of the, it's right smack dab on the plate boundary. A little bit of activity stirring up here across the Middleton area of Northern California as well. Looks like the swarming's kicking back up slightly. Although a lot of this is from earlier this morning. One earthquake here in the last hour. We'll continue to watch the plate tectonic movement out here worldwide. I still think, with all this activity we've seen up here across the Western Pacific in swarm fashion around Izu Trench and the Crokamachaka, still watching this area. I think something has been brewing there for a little while. All right, let's check out the tremor map here tonight. I'm just going to make this a quick short update because I got to get to bed and get up early somewhat. No tremor. Zip, zero, nada. Not for sure if this is just not being reported or if this is indeed the events of zero. Yellowstone National Park data is still out. This previous day, look at that, nothing coming in. And that is on the, not only this site, but also on the University of Utah that measures this activity. What else we got? Someone was asking me, when was the last 8-pointer that we've seen, right? We haven't seen any 8-pointers out here this year yet. We came close to the movement out there in Turkey area earlier this year. The last somewhat, this is 7.5 and above. So the last one, at least 7.7 here, was back in May of this year. Now, the last 8-pointer that we've seen was the South Sandwich Trench Islands, or South Sandwich Trench. That 8.1 was, number 3 that year. In fact, in 2021, we had 3 8-pointers. South Sandwich Trench, Alaska Peninsula, and down along the Kermadec Islands, New Zealand area. Pretty crazy. So what about the last 9-pointer? I think we remember 9-pointers are not all that common. They occur a lot less than the 8-pointers and 7-pointers, right? But 2011 was our last 9-pointer, and that was going to be the Japan one, the 9.1 2011 earthquake there that sent a tsunami across the Pacific and, of course, into the Japan area. That's a major earthquake. Prior to that, the last 9-pointer was the 2004 Sumatra earthquake, if I recall right. Yep, 2004. So a little bit of time span in between 2011 and 2004, right? Almost, not quite 10 years. Prior to that, of course, let's see what we got here. I only pulled up since about 2000. But it seems as though 9-pointers occur on somewhat regular intervals between maybe 10 and 15 years or so, 20 years. So if our last 9-pointer, was back in 2011, we're past that 10-year mark. We're coming up on about 12 years here, 13 years since the last 9-pointer. So it's possible we could see a large 9-pointer somewhere that hasn't seen it in quite some time. I think the Kuril Kamchatka here is definitely capable of producing some large quakes. Looks like back in 2020 they did have a 7.5 earthquake on that Kuril Kamchatka. But I still think this is a little bit overdue in terms of seeing mega potential, mega quake activity. All right, look at the space weather activity here. Generally light movement out here across the sun. Not a whole lot of dynamic sunspots. The only ones that we are watching are currently 3460 down here, center disk on the southern hemisphere, and also a departing sunspot. See you later. A source of a couple M flares and some C flares over the last couple days. Now about ready to drift off the western limb, and we're left with some new sunspots here on the eastern limb that at least look fairly large. There's not a whole lot of complexity, at least from this view, but we'll continue to watch that in the coming days. Right now, 95% chance for a C flare, M flare at 35, X flare around 5% chance, and there's not a whole lot of potential auroras here in the forecast. Space weather conditions, for that matter, look pretty quiet up here across the polar regions. As far as Storm Prediction Center goes, just general light earthquake, or not earthquake activity, but thunderstorm activity out there until about day 2. This is going to be on Thursday. Looks like potential severe weather threat there on Thursday across eastern Nebraska and eastern Kansas, with a little bit of tornado potential up there too, including Florida. But we'll check on that as it gets a little bit closer. 15% chance of some large damaging hail out there on Thursday. All right, folks, have a good night. I'm going to jump off here. I'll just keep an eye on things overnight, see how it plays out. Right now, things are pretty quiet across the seismograph stations. That may not last long. You just never know. Have a good one, and stay safe out there, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning sometime.